Currency farming should not be monotonous. It should be fun. Viable and profitable, absolutely, but also fun. And with that in mind, I am trying to reinvigorate the Vaal Temple farming strats in 3.25 as a result of the changes to Tier 17, as well as, of course, the additional map device slot. So let us talk about it. Let's go through everything. Time codes in the description box below. But first and foremost, welcome back, my Vaal friends. The name is Wolf, and I have been busy. Because we have been farming the Exile strategy, which was wildly successful, incredibly profitable, and if the comments are to be believed, really, really fun for a lot of people beyond just me. So I'm very happy to hear that. But yes, that strategy was a creation in response to Vaal Temple no longer being a viable option. This was as a result of Tier 17 being a little too inaccessible for a lot of people, and thus they flocked to Vaal Temples to get more juice out of their maps, right? But Tier 17 is a lot more accessible right now, and thus the Vaal Temple prices have gone down. And not to forget, we have been given another map slot, or at least a map device slot, for greater juice potential, which has had some interesting effects. We'll talk about the scarabs and the Atlas passive tree and why I have been doing things the way that I have, because there are multiple ways of doing it, but this is the entry level of the actual strat if you want to get into it, if you want to get a feel for it, right? I have been experimenting with different versions already, which I will upload in the future, so don't worry about that. But until then, check out the time codes in the description box below, as well as while you're down there, hit that like button. I would appreciate it. But yes, Vaal boxes are wonderful, special, unique, strong boxes. And they drop double corrupted items, double corrupted unique items, like +4 chests sometimes, which is insane. If you had a good base, that's a lot of money. Or double corrupted jewels, which is how I've got pretty much an entire tab full of double corrupted jewels I'm trying to sell. As well as gems. 2120 gems oftentimes find their way to me too. As well as special essences like the Hoarder essence and such, which is very, very good. You can sell those for like 6 or 7 per divine, which is very, very profitable too. So there's a lot of like gamba involved because that's kind of what the strat is. So you have two ways of dealing with that. You can either increase the ceiling further, which means greater variance, but also more explosive victory. Or you can try to bring back consistency. And that's kind of what this initial strat will do. Especially with the league mechanic and the fact that we can make up to a 90k gold a map. The biggest win of gold I've had on one map that lasted a little over 3 minutes was 90,000 gold. I've heard people making over 100,000 gold, but I have not been able to verify that. But I can see that it is possible if you hit the right modifiers, if you hit enough boxes that reopen and keep reopening. It's very, very fun. So let us talk a little bit about the details then, right? Because I'm sure you are waiting. And here's the passive tree for this entry-level Vaal Temple strategy. It's based around, of course, Twist of Fate, as all Vaal Temple farming strats typically are. And as you can see, it randomizes all the map mods, which is why you need a character that can handle every single tier 16 map mod in the game while it's being super juiced, because we're also juicing the map mods with things like mounting modifiers and such. So you need to have a competent character that can do it all. So be wary of that. This is also the keystone that allows us to get random map layouts. So we don't get the terrible Vaal Temple layout, but we get all the other layouts. And some of them will be bad, and some of them will be really, really good. But more importantly, it's always going to be something different, which means no monotony, which is very, very fun, and no brain rot, which is very good. On top of that, we have the strong boxes. We pick up the bottom wheel, we pick up the middle wheel, and then we pick up partially the top wheel right here, because we want maps. We duplicate them, because the more maps we have, the better it is, because we, of course, have the map device on our league mechanic, right? Where we can dump all the maps we don't want, or we can actually bulk sell them with the little trick I'll show you guys right about now. Because if you go to your map stash, you can actually make it public, right? You can set it to public and then set exact prices on all items, and then you can set a price. I'd like to sell maps in bulks of 60, which is an entire inventory full, and I want about a divine for that. So I do 1 divine for 60 maps. And then automatically, it will list every single inventory I have that is at least 60 maps. Now, I've just sold a bunch. As you can see, I'm very empty. And then once I do have 60 again, it will automatically get listed, and people can then whisper me automatically through the official trade website for 60 maps for a divine, which is very, very automated, very fun, right? Like, you don't have to worry about it. It just kind of happens. Just make sure that every map is not corrupted or mirrored. Don't be that guy, right? Make sure that everything is clean. I would strongly recommend that. You can also do different numbers. You can do like half a divine if you know the chaos amount for like 30 maps if you want to have more traits but at lower value. That is also a thing you can do. It is entirely up to the economy and what you find more preferable, right? But that's a neat little trick for like selling bulk maps without needing to go into the actual discords and such. But yes, we are therefore picking up pretty much all the map mods that will give us more maps, which also means more tier 17 maps, which sell for a nice amount of currency right now, but also corrupted versions of that, which do not count towards the amount of natural drop tier 17 maps. So you get like a bunch of additional tier 17 maps you could run or sell for like half price because they are corrupted, but they do still sell if you're willing to deal with that fuss. Or you could just run them yourself, because if you can run Vaal Temple, you can run tier 17. Trust me, tier 17 is easier. Having that said, though, so we have the maps, we have the strong boxes, we have the modifiers increasing the difficulty of the maps, but with it also the actual quantity and such, the value you might draw from it. Speaking of it, we're also picking up the middle and the outer wheel for more quantity because we're trying to maximize the map drops. On top of that, we also are trying to maximize scarabs because, as you can see, significant trophies is really nice because the uniques do spawn from the Vaal vessels occasionally. We have more scarabs here, more scarabs on the top. If you want to specialize your scarabs, you can do so as well. I wouldn't hate that myself. I also typically like to pick up singular focus so I can focus the maps that do drop. Although if you do that, you end up losing out on the special maps like the influenced maps, which is something you can put in the map devices as well and get fragments out of that and better rewards too. So it might not be worth it to run singular focus in this particular league if you want to maximize profit. Also, in terms of altar, it's entirely up to you. I do recommend running blue if you can, but I'm a charge stacker, so a lot of the mods are kind of dead for me on the right side, so I decided to go with left. But yeah, you want to crank up that quantity as best as you can without breaking the map, so you get the most amount of drops. More maps is just really, really good for this particular strategy. Having that said, though, let's talk a little bit about the map device. Now, the map device is pretty straightforward, luckily enough. Make sure you have the right tree and not the experimental tree with new tech that you're going to be releasing in a couple of days if everything goes right, because that would be unfortunate if you did that. But yes, make sure that your craft on the map device is free. This, of course, has to do with the fact that the keystone will also randomize your map crafting options. So if you pay for something expensive, you won't get it because it's randomized. So keep that in mind, unless you want to go with bolt undertakings, because it does respect that to some extent, as well as overloaded circuits as a result of bolt undertakings, which can lead to some very fun interactions because there's a lot of stuff on the map device that can be very profitable and fun, but it does increase the investment by 12C per map, which will add up, and you don't always get something good. So it's going to be higher variance at the cost of a little bit more chaos. So it's up to you if you like that or not. I have opted to not do that, but that's entirely up to you. Other than that, choose your altar of choice. I do think if you can run either, because we're trying to maximize quantity, which of course will allow us to get more maps and more tier 17 maps and more bulk selling maps and more maps for the league mechanic, as well as more gold to support that. Because like I said, some people on either have been having 100k plus maps. The highest I've seen on red is like 90k, so mileage may vary. So keep that in mind. But ultimately, we will have lots of gold, lots of maps. Do with it what you want. Yes, the hidden compartment scarab is mandatory, and for this strat, the scarab of escalation is mandatory, because not only are we adding modifiers with that keystone, we're also adding additional modifiers with risk 1, risk 2, and risk 3. Now, everything is going to be randomized, so whatever Vaal Temple map you can get your hands on is the best one you can get. The cheaper, the better, because everything is going to get randomized, right? You don't know what kind of mods you're going to get. They could be terrible, they could be great. The point is, you need to have a character that can do it all anyway, so it doesn't matter. Everything is going to be randomized. And then once you have done that, you just click activate, and you pop off. And as you can see, mine turned into a maze, so I'm going to be doing that. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this inspired a new beginning of fun currency strats, and I will see you guys in a couple of days, I imagine, or on stream while I keep testing the totally not teased other version of the strat. Have a good night, take care, and I am out.